Well, I wasn't poor by most people's standards, but I came from a family with a poor attitude, if you know what I mean. Because rich, poor, middle class, poverty starts with a fundamental attitude. So I was in Hawaii, I was 9 years old. My father was the head of education, PhD, very smart man, good guy. And for some reason, we moved across town and I went to a school with rich kids. So this is a little town called Hilo, Hawaii. That's not on the map anywhere, but it is. It's a sugar plantation town. So when I was 9 years old, I moved to this rich kids school. And suddenly I realized I was poor because it's relative, as Einstein, it's all relative. And my classmates were mostly white guys. And I was one of the few Asians in the class. And these guys, their fathers owned the banks, they owned the plantations, they owned the car dealerships, they owned the meat packing company, they owned the ranches. And I'm going, how come my dad doesn't own that?
Well, most successful entrepreneurs have gone bust. Henry Ford, an old-time entrepreneur, he went bust 5 times. Look at Steve Jobs.
Yep.
His own board fired him. Bill Gates was taken before the Supreme Court for monopolistic practices.
Right.
Even my friend Donald Trump went down $1 billion.
Yeah.
I only went down $1 million. So the average person is so afraid of those losses, they never get ahead. Because at school they teach you if you make a mistake or if you fail, you're a failure. But that's not real life. A baby learns to walk by standing up and falling down, standing up and falling down. And our school system punishes you for making mistakes. That's why my poor dad, an academic, was so unsuccessful. He was terrified of making mistakes.
My attitude is this: if you're going to be a real entrepreneur, you have to be a lifelong learner. I am studying, learning constantly. I never stop. And that's my competitive advantage. But also my core advisor team, we never stop together. I have my accountants, my attorneys, my bankers and all that, we study together. That's what we do, we get together. We don't play golf, we don't drink beer, we study. Because study is the way you win. But you have to know what you're studying, because what you put in here, garbage in, garbage out, right? I think you have to be careful is who's your teacher, who's your mentor.
I don't know what the heck with people think about money, but that's what I get a lot of is kind of this, money's not spiritual. I'm just saying it's your attitudes, the person's attitude towards money. I make a lot of money, but I give a lot, you know what I mean? It goes to biblical principle, the more you give, the more you receive. So when I meet somebody doesn't have any money, it just means they're not giving something. So a lot of times there's people who would like more, but they're not giving anything. So they're like my poor dad. He belonged to the labor unions and he wanted to work less and get paid more. Well, that's anti-religious to me. If you want to get paid more, work more, give more. That's how I see it.
To be successful in the world of business, there's 3 basic types of education you must have. 1, academic education. That's reading, writing, arithmetic. It's very important. I'm not saying it's not important, it's extremely important. So academic is very important. Second is professional, where they become a doctor, a lawyer, secretary. In my case, I had 2 professions. My first profession was a sailor. I was a 3rd mate on board oil tankers. Again, it was a good profession. And the second profession was as a pilot, and most of my friends went on to become airline pilots. I just didn't want to fly anymore. And the third is financial education. As a young boy, I realized that I could beat my friends over here if I understood this. In other words, I can make a lot more money here than these guys here. The beauty of the world today is that, when I went to work for Standard Oil of California, I got paid by the month. And if I was a pilot flying for the airlines, I got paid by the month. And when I worked on straight commissions with Xerox, I got, basically commissions. But I realized from my rich dad talking to me that if I understood financially, I could make money 24/7 without working. That was the difference. So what you'll be learning about is how we make money 24/7 without working. To me, that makes a lot more sense than working hard over it.